Be excellent to each other and party on. We're back for another Legacy League, and today we're playing Jeskai Stoneblade with the Aetherspark. This is a new legendary artifact planeswalker equipment that was just printed in the new set Aetherdrift, and boy is it a fun, powerful card. I believe it is legacy playable, and I believe that it is so powerful that it may just crowd Kaldra Complete out of your Stoneforge Mystic package. So Kaldra Complete, of course, we've been playing it for a long time. We all know what it does. It's ridiculous, but it is brittle against cards like, Prismatic Ending, Brazen Borrower. The Aetherspark, on the other hand, is pretty quick to at least generate some value. You're at least getting the +1/+1 counter, even if they bounce it or remove it somehow. And the upside is if you can attack, even with like a Tamio, equip, +1 loyalty, put it on Tamio, attack, and then you've got 6 loyalty on this. You can -5. You can draw 2 cards. You can flip your Tamio. You can do lots of stuff very quickly with this. I'm very excited to play this card more. So complementing that, we have Lion Sash, which just solos Dredge, and a lot of other graveyard strategies. We've got Cryptic Coat, which is our army in a can. It's worth noting that should Aetherspark get 10+ loyalty on it and we want to add 10 mana of any color, we can add blue and we can just create a whole bunch of cloaked creatures, or we can just make Lion Sash really big while exiling our opponent's library. So we have things we can do with the mana. Speaking of mana, this is a control deck. Don't let the Dazes and the Wastelands fool you. Those are just part of the rules of engagement. If you want to play Legacy in 2025, you need to have a little bit of a tempo bent to your control deck, in my humble opinion. But we do go big with Teferi. We got 2 of those. We've got 2 Narset. We've got 2 Brazen Borrowers that can not only interact with our opponents, but come down and be something that we can equip the Aetherspark to later on. And that comes up all the time in stalled out board states. And of course, we've got our 7 exile-based removal spells. We are not going to mess around with mid-range decks. We are going to put them in the dirt and try to keep their boards clear. This is a 4 Tamio deck, and we do have 2 Murktides to come in, finish the job. And if we ever equip an Aetherspark to a Murktide and it's like a 9/9, we're talking about serious value town that we're heading to. The sideboard is pretty stock: 4 Consigns and Harbinger to deal with Eldrazi, 2 Hydroblast and a Force Negation for Moon Stompy. We've got 3 Pyroblasts. I know it's not showing the number here, but that's how many are in here. And a basic mountain that we can board in if we face Delver. And we've got 2 Grafdigger's Cage for Graveyard Disruption. And then if we're up against a deck that kills creatures through damage or through like Fatal Push or anything like that, we can board in Pre-War Formalware and we can bring back our Tamios and our Stoneforges. And this is a great value engine as well. So we're going to play a full 5 rounds. As always, leave comments with timestamps if you have feedback on my play. Not only does that help me get better at playing, but it helps everybody else in the comments get better, because that is the name of the game. We're all playing to get better and enjoy this beautiful format that is Legacy. See you in round 1. Round 1, we're up against the best deck in the format. This hand is totally keepable. So Blue-Black Reanimator, undisputedly the best deck of the past few years. And they've banned things repeatedly, and it's still the best deck. I think we may have to daze here. I want to be able to get my planes just so I don't have to worry. I think I'm going to go ahead and play this, and we'll do Island first. And then we have days if we absolutely need it. Like an Entomb would be an emergency situation where we need days. And I don't think I'm going to get the Surveil land because I don't want them to, daze my days on their Entomb. They're opening Ponder. Okay. They do have Tamio in their deck. This is what they were playing like 3 days ago. Barragoyfs, Brazen Borrowers, Trolls, Traxa, and Archon, of course. And then they've just got, basically their flex slots are Thoughtseize and main deck Barragoyf. Okay, so I can Surveil here, and I think I am going to. They did shuffle their Ponder. So Surveiling, we're looking for... we have days to back up our Stoneforge Mystic, so I think we just don't play on basics at all. Borrower is also very good again this specific matchup, because if they reanimate a troll, you can bounce it back to their hand. They've taken like 6 life, and they're back to square 1. They may be experiencing some server lag or something. They're taking forever to do basic things like approve my fetch here. Hopefully they're not experiencing server lag, because this deck is very click intensive, and I expect many of the games to, have clock as a factor. Hopefully this is not a lag day. So it's been really good recently. Oh no. Well, they are definitely favored in a lag heavy matchup, because all they have to do is swamp, entomb, swamp, reanimate, and then they win. Not necessarily against our deck. We do have things we can fight back. More server lag. All right, I've lost more than a full minute so far. Just on turn 1. Okay, that is going to go in the graveyard. I'm glad we dodged that. We don't need more lands. They may very well have Wasteland, but we're just going to live in that world. Okay, so I'm not going to wait around. I am going to go ahead and just jam, and I'm going to get the... I could get the Allspark and start going to town. They're not representing Fatal Push at this point. I'm going to have to freaking burn our only interaction here, which sucks, but it's worth it. I think we just get Lion Sash. Are they going to force here? Okay, we're in? Question mark? They are forcing. All right, well, now our hand doesn't really do anything, but we do have Brainstorm. Okay, and they pitch their Borrower, which is, you know, a card we don't really fear as much now that we are not playing Kaldra, but before it was just like such a clean answer to Kaldra, and then you got this clunky equipment sitting around until turn 7 when you have enough land, if you ever have enough land, which we won't. Okay, so here I'm just going to play a fetch and chill. I'm not going to do anything. Oh, that's good. So I think we just keep playing on non-basics here. I'm not going to let that Wasteland deter me. The key card that we have to stop is Entomb. As long as we don't, you know, Troll Cycle is also scary, but again, we've got 2 ways to deal with the Troll currently. We cannot easily deal with an Archon. Like, we can plow it, but they just generate so much value on the way through. We've already gotten our Surveil land out of the way, which is something I very much like to do. We could wait a turn, or we could just jam again. I think if they had if they could have a second daze. The card that they pitched was Borrower. Yeah, I'm going to jam. And I'm not going to fetch basics because I don't want to get wasted off of either of these colors. The fact that they led with Island, if they had like black mana, I'd be a little more careful. Okay, we got another force. So the White Hymn to Torok has been cast twice. Card in exile is a Brainstorm. So we're getting value. I'm just worried that they could have Bowmaster here and Bowmaster my Brainstorm. I guess I can plow, but then if they have another interaction spell, it's a real blowout. They could have a Landlight hand, and maybe that's why they're just aggressively forcing my stuff, because they don't have anything else to do. I do want to Brainstorm and find another land, because this deck is mana intensive. We could find Narset, we could find Teferi. Lots of good stuff in our deck. Okay, wow, double Island in... Okay, they're going to flip it. That's fine. We have Borrower. Assuming Borrower works, then they get basically 0 value for this. We also have Prismatic Ending. I'm going to try to Brainstorm into a Prismatic Ending because that's a much cleaner answer than borrowing it. But we can borrow it before it gets too far into the process. They can buy back a Brainstorm, and they should. Against white decks, you should always... let's go ahead and do this. You should always use Tomio as soon as you can. Okay, so Wasteland is pretty terrible. I think we just have to ponder here. I'm going to put back the Wasteland and one of our Dazes. Maybe I put back... Let's see. Are they playing Bowmasters? They do not have Bowmasters main deck. They do have 3 Bowmasters on the side. So I do think it's worth keeping the Brainstorm around. Now let's ponder, and let's hope that they don't daze. If they do, we can always daze again, but we need to shuffle these cards. Cryptic Coat's fine, but I'm going to dodge that. I mean, Cryptic Coat can hold Tomio in parity for a couple turns. All right, we're going to pass. And again, I think it's 100% correct. We are most likely a Prismatic Ending deck, and they should be using this aggressively to get cards back from their graveyard, like the Storm back. Okay, I think they just made a big mistake there. All right, but it may not be punished because they had the Wasteland to hit our land. Okay, we got a land here. I do want to just see if I can find a Prismatic Ending, and then I can borrow next turn before they ultimate. All right, we found a Tomio of our own. I think we play it out. I'll just put back a Plow and a Borrower in case they find Thoughtseize. Oh no, I needed that. Oh, I can't fetch. That was a misplay. I have to draw this. Okay, so we're just chilling. We're not playing this out. That was a punt. Yeah, I should have put like one of the Dazes. But now we've got a clean pitch to force when we attempt to protect. All right, so yeah, if they're able to go all the way with Tomio, it's really bad for us, needless to say, but we do have lots of interaction. They've got 2 cards in their hand. So let's just hope that they do not have a... I think at this point, I'm just going to get the Island. And, I mean, we might as well do this in their upkeep in case they have to interact. And they're going to know we have something here. They're fetching. I'm going to set a stop here in my instep just in case. It's fine. I'm trying to think if they could have force negation. I don't think. I mean, if I think it's fine. I'm gonna give them a little bit more mana here, and do it in the upkeep. We've got 2 cards in hand. So if they have force and daze, okay, we got it out. Feels good. So they're back to square one. They've gotten 0 value for that. They just put it into play and did a bunch of stuff. They may have another brainstorm. Okay, it's just land. It's good to know about. All right, so now we can Tomio. We're drawing wild here. Merc. Just Merc. So I want to beat them down. I don't think they'll likely have a way to deal with Merc other than borrowers. 2 borrowers in the deck. I can force a borrower. I just want 2, 3, 4. High as we can go. Yeah, so it's going to be a 7/7. Assuming it resolves. Will I force a daze? I guess I don't have to. So now, like them reanimating something other than... Oh, are they going to attack here? Okay, so this deterred Tomio, so they don't get clue equity. That's great. All right, land is good. Trying to think if there's any merit to doing anything other than just attacking and maybe putting down the Tomio here. I think maybe we do want to plow this, but we could plow anything. I'm going to see if they block. If they block, obviously I don't need to worry about that. They would be crazy to block here. I'm going to hold this in case... Do we care about giving them clues? I'm going to go ahead and Tomio here. Well, I could just play this out in step, and then they're dead on board. I think I like that better. And then I've got like 3 points of interaction, really 4 with the plow. Okay, they're going to create the clue. That's fine. They want to spend their last turn cracking a clue. That is okay with me. They don't have a Kaito. Here's the clue. I think now is fine. Well, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and play this out. And if they Bowmaster, that's fine. I have that covered. So we're going to get our Valk, which is our last blue source. I guess it's fine to just grab this blue, colorless, Tomio, or Brazen Borrower, rather. All right, they're dead on board. Let's see what their clue yields. This game brought to us by Brazen Borrower. This card is insane. Like, people who think it's not that great. So this shuts us off death. I think it's fine to just let this happen, though, because I mean, this might seem weird. We could just double daze, and then we still have plenty of interaction up. We have force up if we need it. Yeah, I think that's fine. I'll daze this back to hand. Now they have to crack. This denies them a potential brainstorm in the future. I always let them actually get the land. I don't give them the information that I'm going to daze again. And I let them pay for it before I daze the second time. If they force or do anything like that, they'll be so low in life that they won't be able to do a lot of other stuff. So this resolves. They pay. Oh, that just happened? Bowmaster? Well, I think this is just a force here because we got them dead. Yeah, I had forgotten that they had another land drop to make. Okay, we won. All right. So Murktide, closing the game quickly. You want to have, like Bosch and Roll is always advocating for having like a way to like close the game. And that is a good way to close the game there. So in terms of sideboarding, Grafdigger's Cages come in. And when we bring in Cage, we have to take out Coat. But since they're using damage-based removal, I'm going to bring back... no, wait. Pre-War kind of like stomps on that. I think this is a Pyroblast matchup. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut Wasteland. Wasteland is pretty bad. I think actually do I want to cut 2? Yeah, we have 18 lands. I think that's fine. Wasteland is just not good against them. And on the draw, Daze is not spectacular either. These other cards are slow, but they're good. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a card that's not good here. Daze is the cut. They saw us daze them a whole lot, and we're cutting our Wasteland, so it makes sense to also daze those. And we're going to hope to play like a longer mid-rangey game between our Pyroblasts, our forces, and our effects. Even if they resolve like a giant monster, we're hoping to be able to answer it. I'm going to keep the endings in for sure. Like, I don't always keep those in, but they are playing Bowmaster and they are playing Baragoyf. When I cut equipment, sometimes I will cut a Stoneforge Mystic as well. Yeah, I think I'll bring one daze back. I'll bring the Wasteland back in. We'll just have a little more mana. I think it's... Yeah, so 3 Stoneforge to 2 equipment. 4 Stoneforge to 3 equipment. That's the ratio I like. All right. Unfortunately, this is a mulligan. Our opponent kept hand. So I never keep hands without colored mana sources. This hand is super sketch. but I'm going to have faith that we're going to draw, and I'm not going to mull deeper. I think Narset is the cut here. All right. 19 lands that we're drawn to. Any of them give us Stoneforge. Tommy's fine. Again, we have the answer to her right here in hand. They can daze the first time. Oh, that's great. Okay, so I think I'm just going to Plains End. And if they wasted, or it's not wasting a daze, it's a 1. But if they use their daze here, that's totally fine. All right. Yeah, Prismatic Ending, particularly good against Tomio versions of Blue-Black Reanimator. And we didn't see Entomb or anything like that, so there's always the possibility that they are on, just like tempo. But they were playing Reanimator as of yesterday, and they have been playing Reanimator a lot. Well, Dimir Del. Yeah, I don't think they're on this. This is like literally yesterday. Bowmaster. We've got a plow for this. I think I'm not going to burn my force here. Just main phasing it. Very honest. Okay, so I think in this situation, it's fine to just hold this and plow later. And we've got Daze Protection. We're going to be getting an island with this in the face of their Wasteland. Love playing basics, but not too many. One of the things I frequently tell people is like, you'll see lots of Stoneblade versions that are playing like, 6 or 8 basics. And I think that's a huge mistake. I don't think it's worth it. Like that level of commitment to basics is unnecessarily, do we want to preserve our life total by plowing now? Fine to do so. I definitely want this off the table. If they play Baragorf, I'll just have to force probably. But Baragorf actually isn't going to be that big. And if they try to interact with this, I will force. Because I need to have Bowmaster off the table so that I can do my thing with my equipment. But actually, I'm not going to get my equipment. I'm going to go get the Lion Sash because it's so good in this matchup. They have lots of ways of removing it, but it is good. Here's a Tomio. That's fine. All right. They've got double Wasteland here. All right. Cage seems pretty strong. I think they do have the potential for days. I think we just grab a island and we Stoneforge, and then we have force plus daze protection on our force. Let's grab our island. I think we actually do get the Aetherspark here rather than because we have Cage and they have not so far demonstrated any. So do we force back here or do we just take our 2 for 1? They are going to be generating clues here. We're going to be sitting here doing nothing. This Narset, I would love to play it out, but force pitch force. I mean, I think we resolve. She's in. We're going to get the Allspark. I call it the Allspark. Sorry. That's, I'm going to start calling it just the Spark because somebody pointed out the 1984's Transformer movie. It's the Matrix of Leadership that is in that movie. It's not the Allspark. The Allspark looks slightly different, but this looks just like the Matrix of Leadership. It's so cool if you watch the 1984 movie. So I do have the option of just grabbing a Lion Sash here, which can start eating cards from the yard. But again, I think with Cage, we're gonna Aetherspark here. And one card in their hand, it absolutely could be Daze. I think we wait a turn. And well, actually, I kind of want to get these off the table. Yeah, I am. It is a risk. We're going to lose whatever land we grab here. I think let's grab a Tundra and we can save the other land just in case. Daze is not their last card. So we have just shut off the main thing their deck does. And they've got Tomio going, but we're going to have Aetherspark going. Some people are like, somebody said, take a shot every time he says Tomio instead of Tamio. And I just want to clarify that I know Americans generally pronounce it Tomio or Tamio, but like she's from the Kamigawa Plain, and they speak Japanese there, and her name is a Japanese name. So I'm going to pronounce it like a Japanese person would, which is Tomio. So Ponder, so they are going to be able to flip her here. This actually does reduce the amount of damage I do with the Aetherspark. So I'm only getting 1 loyalty instead of 2. So we are kind of like facing, Thoughtseize. Oh, that's pretty damn good here. That's a good last card. And then they got the clue. So we're going to basically be just sitting here looking for some sort of solution to this. And it doesn't matter what we would have grabbed there. If we grabbed the Lion Sash or anything like that, we'd still be under the Tommy gun. All right. Better lucky than good, as they say. Let's go ahead and use our non-basic here. They have 1 card in hand. I guess this is just the other equipment that is in our deck, the Lion Sash. But we have lots of permanents we can eat. Lion Sash. Next turn, There's no point in attacking. Next turn, we can put in Lion Sash. We can start eating stuff, but we're going to need to eat a lot, and they can waste us to slow down our rate of eating. Oh, they're regrowing that. Yeah, that's a good play. But this does mean that I can come in and kill unless they have something else in their hand. Well, I am totally happy with that outcome. Brainstorming. If they can find a removal spell, they can potentially keep Tamio alive, but they're going to probably lose their Orc Army token either way. If they find Brazen Borrower, they can bounce this back to hand, and then the degenerate half of their deck is back. So they have 2 Wastelands up, so I don't have to worry about Bowmaster here. So I'm just going to attack Tamio. It's a great rip. I guess we can't rip anything. We don't have any equipment left in our deck. Trying to think we could get a Murktide, but we wouldn't be able to cast that. I think it's worth just attacking first and seeing whether they have some sort of colorless interaction that I haven't thought of. I think Tamio's a goner, though. Step aside and let the woman through. All right. Now we are going to use this mana. Our Brainstorm and set up our next few draws. The sad, 1 card Brainstorm. Okay, these are bad. I don't want this force. I'm going to just shuffle and surveil. And I'll just wait so I have a little more context in what they're likely to do, and I'll instep. We got 11 minutes on the clock. Lag has not been an issue, but, I'm a slow player, so I do have to worry about the clock. And we're playing a slow deck. All right, 3 mana Kaito. Yeah, this is a tough card to beat. This is so our opponent is they may not even be playing Reanimate. I may be completely wrong. I have not seen a single Reanimator type card. I think they're just playing blue-black tempo without the Nethergoyfs. They're surveilling here. Yeah, it's very hard to remove this card. Brazen Borrower is probably the best draw here because we can bounce it, and then they have to cast it, and they can't really do as much. And we can also play out the Brazen Borrower itself. They've got 3 cards in their grip. They're doing fine over there, and lots of mana to cast them. And this is probably an inconsequential card. Another waste. They're firing off. Restricting our mana. I am going to go ahead and surveil. I want to get this surveil in out of my deck. They're not even going to let the trigger resolve. So thanks for giving me the free information. So this is not castable. I'm going to put this in the yard. All right. Brazen Borrower. Brainstorm. Let's brainstorm first. Okay. These cards are pretty meh. I'm going to put this back. They can just plus every turn and hit us. I'm going to go ahead and play out the Tundra this turn. I could hold it in case the thought sees me. Then next turn I draw Prismatic Ending. Yeah, I don't think we're going to win, unfortunately. But I'm going to keep attacking Kaito. I'm definitely considering just conceding 4 o'clock. I'm F6ing through their turn. They're making Kaito bigger. We're basically dead. I know what we're drawing, and we can hold back and chump for a couple turns, but I don't think that's a winning line. So what I'm going to do is I am going to assume that they're basically playing my Kaito deck, but maybe less of a commitment to Kaito. So pre-war definitely comes in. Stoneblade, Stoneforge number 4. I don't think we need to bring... Well, actually, Wasteland is not atrocious against them. Pyro is one of the cards we were potentially digging. I think Days could come back in, and Forces could come out. I think we're in a value. Cryptic Oak comes in. So we've got 4 equipment. We're going to go full value here. We're just going to assume that they're not playing Reanimator. And if they pivot back into Reanimator, they got these cages. Wasteland, get in here. Dazes, get in. Yeah, if they are on bigger cards, I think Daze is totally defensible. Do we need 20 lands? I don't think we necessarily do. I would like to get Daze number 3 in. I'm seriously considering pulling Lion Sash just because it is kind of a slower card. And they're hitting our mana a lot. And I'm just going to go full, hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil. And I'm just going to assume that they're on a fair blue-black strategy. This hand is totally keepable. Open basics. We won't be able to Merc for a while, but that's fine. Teferi should be pretty good. There are a lot of cards in their deck that Teferi likely interacts with. Open Plains. Just honest opening. But I don't want to have to fetch... dual to plow if they put something. I want to get a value play if they black into something and don't have Days of Mana up. I guess maybe I should have just played this is a great hand. This is 2 for 1 city basically, assuming that we don't get Dazed a bunch. Island, Ponder, the classic opening. Go for it. Right. Yeah, because Reanimator is so strong, because as I said, it's the best card in the format basically. I do think you have to respect it. So here we could just, I definitely don't want to play anything in a daze. I'm going to play slowly, but we might be able to surveil here and just skip the island because I definitely want to get surveil out of my deck. Because we don't have counter magic, I don't want to try to interact here. I'm just going to go get my, let's see, archive. We are looking for a daze or a force. Prismatic Ending is perfectly reasonable. And now, should they attempt to brainstorm or anything, we can still get rid of it. I mean, it will still be a 2-for-1 if they are able to brainstorm. I think we just do it. We just take our medicine and get this off the... Okay, that worked. Now we're just going to chill. I'm not going to play this Stoneforge into... because we just have so many juicy spells. There's no reason to rush. Our hand our deck probably should clearly outclass them. Like, white-based decks almost always beat non-white-based control decks. They've been a force, which is very auspicious considering that we're about to Teferi. I think this is a Spark turn. We should have probably... I mean, we could have pretended we had a Pyro in hand in case they were going to force here. All right, let's go get the Spark. Then if they kill this, the next one can get Pre-War. And Pre-War is just Value City. Don't Entomb. Okay. Aetherspark can just be hard cast for 4 mana. It's not that high of a casting cost. All right, and I'm just not playing Teferi out of respect for Bowmaster. Options. I think Teferi is fine here. Just plow if we need to. Yeah, if they Bowmaster, I'll just plow. They flash in really anything, I'll wait. Okay, so this is a 2-for-1. That is fine. They pitched a force to do that. Okay, so we're going to chill. We are filling up our graveyard for a Merc. Black usually relies on Fatal Push for removal, and Merc is very good against that. We have Barragoyf covered. What we don't really have covered is them Thought Seizing a bunch, but 5 mana on that table. Such a great draw. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we could just Spark here, and I think that's totally... Well, there's nothing to equip it to. I am going to go ahead and just do this. Blue, small. I am ruining our prospects of being able to form more. So we do have fetch for white, and we have Pyro. And we have a Daze Up that's pretty useless. Probably best pitch to 4. Next turn, I'm going to Aetherspark with Pyro up. Land would be fine. Prismatic Ending's fine. I'm going to tap out. And then I do have the Valk if I need it. You love it. This is going to be such a freaking swing if this resolves. All right, we just won the game. Like, how do they come back from this thing? Next turn, we can draw 2 cards. We have tons of interaction if they have a Bowmaster. We might take some pings when we draw, but like we can clear it. All right. What a way to start the game. All right, let's jump. Oh, even though we misdiagnosed that they were on Reanimator, we still, the card's value just got us there. So you're round 2. Round 2, we're up against an unknown opponent. On the play, I think this hand's fine. Against unknown opponents, I'm much more apt to keep a Force of Will hand, and we can just surveil and try to dig. If they're on Moon Stompy, we can get our basic island, and we have Brazen Borrower for our next land. Borrower's so freaking good. They're mulling to 6, so they might be on combo, and we might just blow them. Haven't resolved a Narset yet this league, but I'm hoping to change that this game. If the situation calls for it. Otherwise, I can just pitch Narset. One of the great things is like every blue card has the floor of being pitchable to Force of Will. Yeah, this is basically like the juiciest hand we can hope for if we're on a 1-lander. Tons of interaction, and okay, they're Island Pondering. Respect. Island Ponder, gang. And this island opening, I mean, they definitely could be playing Wasteland. Something like 50% of decks have Wasteland in them, most of them with 4. Wasteland like this one that we're rocking. So you do want to respect it, but finding a second land is important, and we do have a Brainstorm to also find a land, and I just want, again, I'm a huge fan of just getting the Surveil land out of the deck. It's like a terrible top deck. And one thing I'll say is the Allspark is not a terrible top deck the way Kaldra is. Kaldra, you just groan. You'd be like, oh gosh, I drew my 7-drop again. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? But, you know, the Allspark is very reasonably castable. It's the same price as like a Jace. I think we bin this. Yeah, we want land. And our opponent probably will know that we would not bin one of the most powerful cards in Legacy if we... Okay, so I think I do want to land, and I'm going to risk it. Please be fetch. Okay, we've got a land. That's great. And we can Tomio. We can't protect her, but it's okay. I'm going to put back the Mystic. And I'm just going to keep a force heavy hand. With a heavy hand. Tommy here. I would love for them to force. I probably won't force back. I think since we're doing nothing next turn, other than maybe Brazen borrowing something, it's fine. Our opponent could be looking for land, but we're not a tempo deck. We're not going to force their cantrips. There are situations, like if we were like blue-black tempo, I would seriously be considering forcing here because they mulled to 6 and they played a basic island, which means one of their colors is probably off unless they're playing mono blue. They chose not to shuffle, so they probably found a land. So forcing would have only bought us like a turn or two at best, and it would have 2-for-1'd us. Delta. All right. They could be on Reanimator. This is the most common fetch, so we haven't really gotten very much information here. I think I'm just going to attack, and I'll hold up Clue activation because I need to be able to force around days. We have a super juicy hand if we find a third mana. Like, we can just play just bomb after bomb. Basically pretend we're Jeskai control. The blue-white. Okay, so most likely a Stifle Knot. Sinking a Stupor in the yard. Okay, that's a Stifle Knot card. So they're a tempo deck. They're going to have Wastelands and Stifles probably. Brainstorm's fine. Yeah, if they find Waste, that's really bad for us. We are a mana-intensive deck, but we don't have that much need for colored mana. Like, we've got our basics and stuff, so the colorless mana from a Wasteland is totally usable here, so that's why I feel comfortable rocking the full 4 wastes. Most important cards in Legacy. Brainstorm, Force of Will, Wasteland. And then you could argue Ancient Tomb, but that is a dirty Stompy player card, and we don't talk about that here. By the way, Bosch and Roll, back before he became one of the most, definitely the most famous Legacy player, he created this series called Wizard School, and he talks a lot about like optimal use of Brainstorm, or not Ancient Tomb, but okay, Stoneforge, we can do that. I'm going to ponder for a land first, and I'm going to attack before I ponder. I don't think there's too much risk with white of them doing something here. I just want the Clue on the table. So like literally any land gives us Stoneforge, but I kind of want to hold off. Also, if we just Stoneforged right now, we would have to discard. All right, this is perfect. I do want these other cards. So what I can do is I can just, Prismatic Ending would be good. Yeah, I don't care about the other Stoneforge, but I am going to play with the land here. And we could just crack and flip. That does make us vulnerable to them doing degenerate things with Force. I am going to make an executive decision and just chill. I think this game gets better the longer it goes. If they're on Stifle Knot, like they are a control deck. Yeah, they're a control deck for sure. But they're not like a control deck with 2 Teferis and a Narset and a Stoneforge Mystic in hand. You know what I'm saying? Like we have the ultimate control posture here. And the fact that Tomio is just howling mining us every turn is great. We can always crack this in step. Brainstorm is fine. So they're doing an imperfect Brainstorm. They could have brainstormed before they searched if they wanted to shuffle away cards. But so when my opponents do imperfect Brainstorms, I'm happy because that augurs well for me. They're not getting the most out of their cards. And again, if you want to get the most out of your card, watch that Bosch and Roll Wizard Academy Brainstorm video. He talks about Brainstorm. I think he talks about Ponder, and then he talks about Wasteland. Or I'm not sure if he has one on Force of Will. But it's just like 3 very quick videos, like PowerPoints, basically. Back before he started filming leagues even. He's been playing Legacy for so long. And I will say that he was instrumental in me taking Legacy seriously. Like for many years I was on the margins reading MTG The Source and just playing on Cockatrice and definitely like there's a decent chance that I wouldn't be playing here on this video on this channel right now if it hadn't been for just consuming a ton of Bosch and Roll Legacy. This is fine. I'm going to instep crack. So feel very favored here. I think I'm going to get a Plains just so our mana can't be disrupted. Don't stifle me. I will force the stifle. Now we have teachable mana. Let's crack. Brainstorm in response, sure. Flipping Tomio. That is something that... Oh, you know what? I was not supposed to fetch there because I wanted to draw the Prismatic Ending. Now I'm punished by not having Prismatic Ending. Yeah, it'll be okay. We'll find a Prismatic Ending. We've got 3. We can Teferi her out of play. Wait, you can't Teferi a Planeswalker. Never mind. We will not be doing that. However, if Narset sticks, then that shuts down the ultimate ability. Also, by doing this when they did it, they denied themselves the ability to use Tomio this turn. So she's stranded at 2 loyalty, which is just enough for Stoneforge to... Well, no, I'm not going to be able to come in for a hug this turn. So let's get our card. Ponder. Never complain about drawing a Ponder unless you're completely out of mana and you're up against the ropes. Wasteland. We cut them off white. Oh, what do we want to do here? I think it's fine to cut them off white. They've been kind of struggling to make land drops the entire game. So I think what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to make sure that this Narset resolves. Should be good if it resolves. Or do I want to Stoneforge, get the equipment going? Let's see. I get a card back. Yeah. So I would have to discard. If we just borrow this back into play, back from play, then they have to start over. So my temptation is to just borrow here, attack, create the clue, and then waste. So I'm going to go to combat first. Yeah, they haven't given me anything good to force will. You know, it's not their fault. They're doing their best over there. We just have this embarrassment of riches, and it's just a question of how to not screw up what is probably a very dominant position to play. If they want to get into a force fight, I'm here for it. Let's waste. Do you stifle? I think I will actually force a stifle here. Yeah, we've got so many freaking cards. Next turn we can ponder. I mean, I could have pondered there actually. I probably should have pondered there because I could have like lined up another land drop for next turn. Now I have to spend mana on it and I might be dazed. Lotus Petal. Please, by all means, invest that Lotus Petal in doing something. Show and tell deck. Well, I'm going to start by forcing this. I think Ponder is okay here. I'll pitch the Redundant Teferi. If they have a Spell Pierce, that's bad. Flusterstorm is also bad. We may have to... So I was like talking about how we're in this dominant position, like, we're going to win. And then they totally juked me. Like I did not anticipate them playing Show and Tell. I thought they were on like a blue-white control deck. They are considering forcing here. If they force, I think the force is Teferi, Narset, because if they put something gigantic on the table, I can Teferi it back to hand, like a Emrakul. If they put Omniscience on the table, I'm pretty screwed. Okay. Tommy's back. All right. Well, that was clean. Wouldn't mind like a plow here or a... I think I'm going to dig for a plow. I just want to get her off the table because I think our opponent is... Anything here, Daze is pretty bad. I think this is a shuffle, although we can ponder a second time and then just flip Tomio. I think that's probably worth doing considering we have force in our yard and we can regrow it and they probably won't have any pressure. So let's attack. And then we're still having mana up after this. So now we can ponder, we can shuffle, and we flip Tomio and we can activate. If they're playing combo cards, there's a very real chance that they don't... I mean, we could just play this Wasteland for turn and then... The Stoneforge, we Stoneforge to get rid of the Daze. We have so many Stoneforges. Like this does give us force around Pierce. I think we take it. And again, Stoneforge is going to shuffle. And a lot of you might be like surprised that I'm playing so slowly in terms of not really being aggressive. But this is how I play these matchups. I want to make sure we can pay for a Flusterstorm or anything depending on what they do next turn. I am always super careful. And I think if you take one thing away from watching my channel, it's really not that expensive in terms of your life to just play carefully. One ring. You know, they play it out. We just play Narset. They get a card. I think that's actually totally fine. This is weird, but I'm just going to let it resolve. This does give them the ability to flip Tomio, I think. Did they cast anything before this? No, maybe they can't flip Tomio. They can flip it later. Minamo. Untap target legendary permanent. Okay, so they are going to get a second usage of this, but it comes at the cost of using the pedal. They're going to get 2 cards here. They're going to flip Tomio. That's fine. They've got a lot of combo cards in the grip. They can potentially regrow a Show and Tell next turn. We're going to rip a Ponder, which is not particularly good, but it does pair with Force. So again, the floor of any blue card is that it pitches to Force. Narset's going to come out, and I think Narset will be very strong here. Do you think I'm going to minus Tomio to get another force back? I should have cracked a clue. That was bad. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. Blue, colorless. No, I'm going to get the force back first just in case I have to fight over it. I can't actually... Well, let's see. Yeah, I can't do everything I want to do here, unfortunately. I think maybe we do want to have this up just in case we hit this and stop them from one ringing if this gets countered. Okay, so buying the force back actually didn't help us because we don't have a second card to pitch here. We just have to hope that this gets through. And this does mean that, oh man, next turn we force, we have to dig for a blue card. And then we have a blue card for when they regrow, assuming they don't have more interaction. This is in, that's great. Is it in? It's in. Go ahead and minus any blue card. All right. I will just take this redundant force. I would like to take the prismatic ending, but I'm not worried about TonyScapone right now. There's a possibility that Daze is better than the second force. No, I'm going to take the force just in case I don't have to use this immediately. Now our opponent knows about it. And I'm just point in. See, they could do it during our turn. Restricting their mana. I'm going to keep the force up just in case they're... And we've got like so many clues we can use, and we'll start TonyScapoing. So they lose 2. If they tap to even draw 1 card during our turn, that does speed up our clock. So this is the scary time. I think if we untap and we Stoneforge and start doing Stoneforge stuff, yeah, this is fine. It's not fine if they... So they know we have force and a second force. They know they have to beat that. And we did pitch our Teferi. Did we pitch both our Teferis? I think we shuffle one back. We pitched both our Teferis. All right, land is great. I think we just... I'm going to plus here. I'm going to minus here. Just see what we get before I make any decision to do that. For force, and it's also get it with one of our mini Stoneforges. I think this is a very thought-intensive play this out. And we are going to go Stoneforge, the Spark. Get Coat as the second force effect. I think getting Coat is fine. We can even bring it back to hand. It's unblockable, so we can play it out, and I'm going to hold it as a force effect for now. For now, we don't hit Minamo. I'm trying to think if there's any reason to do so. You know what? I think I'm just going to go ahead and play out the second Stoneforge. Let's put some more material on the table, and then we can get the Spark. We have lots of options for next turn. We do have double force. Our opponent knows it if they're paying attention. The Spark. So TonyScapone will debuff our Mystic. It's fine. They can draw their card. These clues that are sitting here will be relevant later too. They take 2. Plussing. Pedal. You love to see them draw their pedals late game. Yeah, I'm definitely glad I didn't use the Wasteland. I'm going to play out the Valk. I am going to go ahead and activate here. An attacker here. Oh, a Lion Sash. That's good to know about. I think we go ahead and we just... I can't put the Allspark out. I can equip it. This has Ward. I'm not sure that matters. I think I screwed up. I don't think I should have done what I did. Now I kind of need to crack the clue. I'm just going to plus and pass because we do need to have two points of interaction here. There's no point in me attacking. Yeah, I should have definitely... wait, I have a colorless floating. What should I do? I think I'm going to go ahead and crack. Draw a blue card here. Okay, perfect. And I mean, this Merc could just end the game next turn, but I want to play nice and carefully. I think we've already functionally ended the game. Like, we're going to hit for a ton next turn. And the ring is ticking down. I just need to make sure we don't get blown out. Yeah, that's great. By all means, draw that card. Turn. And every turn after this. They're going to have to win soon. I'm not saying they can't. They do have force. They have mana to potentially hardcast force. They have 7 cards in hand. They're going to drop to 9 here in their upkeep. Probably getting a Surveil land. Just getting the plains. They look to be pure blue-white. No indication they're doing anything. Look at the sheer pile of basics. They are regrowing the show and tell. This is... Oh, I could have freaking turned it around and eaten if I had more mana. Yeah, that's unfortunate. All right. I think we have to force here. They'll force back, and then we'll force back. Emrakul is not death. It's worth noting that there's no equipment left to grab here. They do have the force. So we're going to put the Spark in. Can I put an artifact? I think I can put this artifact in. Yeah. So this is what I was talking about. Like, had I played differently, this was totally winnable. We wouldn't be in the danger zone like we are now. Omniscience is the card. They can't draw cards though. Emrakul gives them another turn and an attack. We will die. I'm trying to think if there's anything we can do here. We plussed, but it's still going to be exactly enough to kill us. Damn. Did not see ourselves losing that game. I'm going to go ahead and just F6 here, and then I'm going to let them do their turn and attack and just eat up some more clock since we're both pretty comparable on clock here. They dropped a 4. Oh, man, this was so close. If I had just a little bit more life, if I could bring this in. Yeah, like 1 more mana. Crazy. All right. Well, I'm glad you saw that. Like, I thought I was playing carefully enough, but I wasn't. So, definitely lessons to be learned from that game. Okay, so Game 2 gets better. We bring in the pyros for sure. I think we take out the plows completely. Force negation comes in. Hydroblast come. No, we didn't see red. I mean, they could be playing red and they just hate it. Okay, Lion Sash I don't think matters. We cut Lion Sash. We cut one Stoneforge Mystic. That's an option. I want to keep all these interaction cards. I like Consign. But do I like it enough to cut anything for it? I think a Wasteland can come out. We're bringing in a Mountain. We can cut 2 Wastelands. We barely saw any lands. So I like keeping the Dazes just because they pitch the Force. We've only got 3 of them. Then we can bring in a Consign. We've got 18 land. That is a little light. I mean, considering that we were looking for land the entire game, maybe we do bring a Wasteland back. I'm just convinced Lion Sash is a dog in the matchup. Like, other than them targeting their graveyard. And then if we're cutting that, we might as well cut one of them. Consign. And we've got that's the first time I've ever said that. I don't even think I'm like some, okay. Yeah, this is fine. So we're on the play. I think we just go get a Tundra and then we have all our colors and we can Tundra Tamio. Yeah. Cryptic Coat to help beat down Double Daze for interaction. Opponents often expect 1 days, but they don't necessarily expect 2. And they certainly don't expect the Spanish Inquisition. We're going to have to win 2 games in 12 minutes. So I'm putting my foot to the pedal to the metal. Yeah, 2 forces wasn't enough. 14 life and like 20 permanents wasn't enough to stop an Emrakul. We just needed that extra life point. 1 life would have made the difference. I think we could have won if we had 1 life left. I'm going to daze this. I'm going to keep her around so she can generate value. I would love for them to force. They are forcing. Okay. Well, you have gotten rid of my Tamio, and I have successfully kind of like gotten you down to 4 cards on the draw, which feels good. Mwahaha. My opponent is not talking, but like I can imagine, like if we were playing in paper, they'd be like, "Ay, ay, ay. Oh my goodness. Well, friend, I am very sorry for your loss." The card that they pitched was they pitched a Show and Tell and a Ponder. So they're like really slow now. And we're just chilling. It took our 2 hymns. We're not going to get cocky. I mean, they can still just win out of nowhere. They are a combo deck. But plow. Oh, they're on Tamio. That's fine. They have 1 card in hand, but they can rebuild their hand. I am going to open with this just to create our clue. And we're going to just don't show and tell into... They would actually need 3 cards to do that. My opponent said they are experiencing lag, which is not what you want to see. What you want to see in a blue on blue matchup where we basically are doing no damage to each other and they're just jockeying to try to get value. This is great for me. They do have this Howling Mind thing going, but they're taking damage, which, Mark can come in, clean things up. All right, a second Tommy is not really what we want. I'm just going to attack and I'll just crack a clue in the end step. And now they have to fear Pyro. We do have Consign. If they do something that causes a trigger, I'm not sure what they would do. Flip Tamio, I'm probably not going to respond to that. 3 cards in hand. They could have the combo here. Clue. Oh no, I freaking forgot to crack. Such a punt. Well, I'm going to get this coat going. I was just get a second Tundra. Yeah, that was such a punt. Sorry, friends. Whenever I punt, I have to apologize to the audience because coat going, I think we do. I mean, they're at 13. They've been hitting themselves. We don't have any counterplay. All right, so I'm going to let that happen. And I'm just going to play out a second one. I'll try to remember to crack it this turn. But at least we have something we can put in if they, show and tell. We're probably going to lose anyway. Yeah, this game completely, like last game was probably completely winnable. And I just, I punted several times, like just use my mana inefficiently or didn't prioritize the right things. Okay, cracking the clue, that's fine. I'm actually like more scared of them flipping her or like not flipping her because they're drawing so many cards and you don't want to give a show and tell deck card draw. They're certainly playing at a pace where they feel confident there's not going to be a game 3. So unless they're just suffering from, and the server lag is pretty insidious because it doesn't matter how fast your computer is, how fast your internet connection is. Oh, that's great, Rip. Okay. Narset is pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and attack and see if I can bait interaction. And sadly, I am not going to be able to represent Pyro here because I do want to keep Consign up. They have a force. This is a good place to force, good place to spell pierce, good place to do basically. Very happy about that. They can crack their clues on my, so they can get around Narset, but they can't flip Tamio now. unless they are able to remove her. And I suspect they don't have a lot of good ways to deal with her in their deck on the board for the rest of the game. They might be able to Prismatic in, but they don't have 3 colors. Fine. I'm always happy that my opponent is doing well. I guess they can't draw. Yeah, they're building up quite a stockpile of mana. You know, Omniscience is pretty expensive to cast, but it's well permanent. I think it's like 8 or 10 mana, so that could be in our future. I probably want to coat here. Yeah, I think I want to coat here just to get the ball rolling. I am worried. Oh, actually, I don't need to worry about them flipping Tomio anymore, so I can Teferi and just bounce her back to hand. Because the reason I don't do that is I don't want them to fizzle my card draw. I'm going to go in minus here, and that will be my force food. Just going to go ahead and Teferi, and their clue. Go ahead and minus, bounce this so they don't get a clue next turn. Brainstorm. All right, and I think we just chill. We can crack a clue in step, but we're representing basically, like, it's going to be very hard for them to win now. Just have to be mindful of time. Our deck does take a lot longer to win than theirs. They really only need to resolve a single spell and they can win. This is fine. I think not. Isn't that what the card said? I think we just get rid of it. I mean, it's a very slow card draw. Dispiriting. So I have an option of just brainstorming here, and I think I should. We hit one of our many pyros, forces, other stuff in our deck. Okay, perfect. So at this point, I don't think consign is necessary. I will just bin it from the archive, and we're going to just pyro this, and they are going to be pretty bummed, I would imagine. Yeah, pyro is insane against their deck. 2 cards in their hand. At this point, like if I were them, I would consider, but maybe they know that, like that in the grave, plus here. I don't think it's worth going after they have mana. So we know they have at least 1 enabler in hand. They can attack to create a clue. They're dead in 3 cracks. Don't think I can speed up the clock by bouncing this. So I'm just going to, oh yeah, instead of like doing stuff that costs me clock, it's fine. Now, even if they do Emrakul, I can just bounce it right back to hand. They can actually use this. Oh, they can't block. I was going to say they can untap and chump, but they can't. The clue. Borrower is nice insulation. Let's just attack in. I'm aware that I could have cast out the borrower and won this turn. Plus, we've got this game for sure. Clue activation. Yeah, like Teferi is so powerful in this type of matchup. Looks like they are going to make me attack and use a little more of my clock, but they are using their own clock in the process. And clock is much more of an issue for me than it is, because that would give them an extra turn. It doesn't really matter that much. I just want to... Okay, they concede. All right. Game 3. Again, I think with having the Pyroblast in our deck does make this much more favorable. I'm tempted to take out Dazes because they're just really bad. They've got tons of land over there. And maybe we bring in a couple consigns. I mean, consign at least stops the One Ring. Daze probably doesn't stop anything. I guess I'll play the one of. Let's go. Yeah, I feel really good about this configuration of the deck. I hope we get Aetherspark Kraken. But like when you're against a combo deck, like all bets are off. You just have to play super conservative. This is a great grip. Force plus Pyro. Tomio turn 2. After we have Force plus Pyro cover. Like we need to wait till we draw a blue card, and then we can Tomio. Blue card open. Just shocking it in. It's totally fine. Brainstorm. Play this. Yeah, I guess I play this one out, and I do. But this signal is very clearly fine. Oh, okay. Well, I didn't think about that. So I wish they would have done end step Brainstorm, because that would be suboptimal. But instead, I'm not sure what white is for. Probably Teferi, but maybe just for Plow. A lot of these kind of combo decks don't even play Plow. I'm going to hold my Pyros. These Pyros are worth their weight in gold, and I do not intend to burn them on cantrips when I know tempo is meaningless here. Everything is about just getting threats into play. Tundra, pass. Okay, I am going to go get my Surveil here. Don't draw it later. I can go get the Valk with the other land later. I don't expect them to have anything that messes with my mana. I don't really need a Prismatic Ending number 2. Didn't really need that. Let's just pass because we want to have force. It is non-blue. Harbinger. Well, I think I just Pyro. Deal with it on the stack. Interesting card to bring in against my deck that is blue and has tons of base. All right, so second Tomio means we can play the first Tomio. Let's do it. I fully expect this to get removed. It may be better to just fire it off. We've got plenty of mana. I know I'm saying that now, but like 3 turns from now, I'd be like, I really wish I still had that mana. Yeah, if this Tomio dies, I'll just do another one. There's also the possibility that like this clue leads me to, I'm going to represent a second Pyro. I think I'm going to go ahead and attack first. am seriously considering just wasting that. Yeah, I need to waste the spray. Okay, I did it. Wow. Game 1 was a disaster. Like we felt so far ahead, and I was so cocksure, and full of myself and conceited. I can't think of any other. But we managed to pull ahead. And Wasteland, having 4 Wastelands in your deck, in your control deck, again, I'll continue to stump for that. Like control players out there playing like 20 land decks that have like nothing but basics and a few fetches. Consider Wasteland is the best utility land ever printed, and it just randomly wins you games. See you in round 3. I'm pretty sure this opponent in round 3 is playing Oops All Spells. Is one of the most famous Oops players. They've already mulliganed. I'm going to keep this. We got 1 point of interaction, which is the best we can hope for pre-board. But post-board, we're going to hopefully... This is not the best type of matchup for this type of deck. Take the Force. We'll waste. We'll hope that there was going to be a 5-card hand. Can't. I do prefer wasting to searching for a second thing here. We can ponder next turn, but it's hard for them to have the critical mass. Oh no, they pedal. Gosh, the Spirit Guide. Okay, so Plow does do it. Yeah, and if we'd pondered, we would have found it. I'm going to just waste them. I think it's unlikely that we're going to get there, but it is something. Okay, we're still alive. It'll be a miracle if we can get there. Well, we can force pedal and stuff. Like they need Spirit Guide or a land. Good riddance. Man, I do not like playing against this deck. If I sound like spiteful or anything like that, I think this deck is a blight on the format. Because like I have so many players that like friends that play lands, Death and Taxes, all this stuff, and like this deck just, basically just, I want to ponder for land. I think this deck is just like the worst play patterns. It makes Legacy look like a turn 0 format, and because it's a turn 0 deck. Anyway, I won't complain about it, but I'm glad that we have, at least for now, managed to contain it a little bit. I think it's fine to grab the Vault, considering we have we have Prismatic Ending in our hand, and I am going to just deploy the Tomio here. Next turn, I'll deploy a Teferi, and that should shut down a lot of the How good was that Wasteland into Plow? All right, and third land. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and do it now. This might elicit a scoop, but like this person, I don't know their gender, is like super hardcore. And they are just like slaying with this deck. That will close the game pretty quickly. We do have 3 things in the yard. I think we pitched the Borrower at this point because we can close with Merc. Okay, and they are not conceding. They just threw like their entire hand basically. Okay, we'll just come in for a hug and then we will Merc. And they may not be conceding because they're trying to learn more about my deck. Totally fine. I am playing a Brew, to my knowledge. Nobody's ever played this exact 75 that close to it, since it's focused on playing a lot of newer cards. This will be a 3-turn clock or 2-turn clock. Drop to 7, and next turn they'll be game 1 against them. Like we got pretty lucky. Yeah, and I don't think, like I just daze and there's nothing they can do. Technically, I could Prismatic End even if they have the Ball Street Spy, but they wouldn't have the mana to use it. Well, I said it was deterministic, but it may not be. Okay. I'm not sure why they hesitated there. They would have died. Yeah, because they take 4. Okay. So this is a nightmare matchup, but we got our cages. We've got our Pyroblast. Did we see any blue cards? Harbinger can potentially lock them out. Like it's not a beautiful card by any means, but we can do. Consign stops a lot of different triggers in their deck. That's coming in. Cards that are coming out. I think Prismatic Ending is not totally dead. You're never going to see Plow play the role like it did there. That is extremely rare. Lion Sash is great here. Borrower is not the worst. They don't draw any extra cards. I don't think Narset stays in. The Aetherspark draws us cards. I mean, it's as good a card draw engine as any. It slightly speeds up our clock. We need to cut 2 more cards. I'm tempted to just cut Ending. They could have like some card that we do need to remove. I'm trying to think of what might be. I don't know. My instinct is to pull the Aetherspark. We're always going for Lion Sash. We could probably pull that too. And I do think it's worth keeping all 4 in just because Lion Sash is so good in the matchup. And Cryptic Coat is an additional blue if we need it. It's possible that Narset is better than Prismatic Ending, but I just don't know what their deck is capable of. Like, I'm not sure. We can take a look at this. So sideboard is likely Conjurer's Bauble. So we're not going to be hitting that. Wear down, Goblin Charbelcher. We're never going to be getting rid of that. And then they've got the two Jack-o'-lanterns, 2 therapies, 4 packs. So I think Pyro actually comes in just because I think it's pretty marginal. And then we just pull, hopefully that's submitted correctly. All right, and now we got the freaking mountain thing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to restart. I don't think we're going to run out of time, but like, unfortunately, in situations like this, all right, and we are back. They began with 7. We can't mull any deeper. We just have to keep this hand and hope that they don't have a turn 1. If they have turn 1 with protection, we're dead. If we get even 1 turn to play a land out, then we can Pyro their Pact. No, we're dead. Oh, actually, we're not necessarily dead, but we're probably dead. Yeah. The fact that they therapied means that they have something they're going to do here. They got Force, Dark Ritual again, and here's Johnny kicking down the door. They have the ability. So we're going to take a look at their sideboard strategy. Yeah, it's just so frustrating. Like, you wouldn't think like 20 years ago, if you had a Force of Will in your hand, there'd be a 0% chance that you would die turn 0 before you even got to play a land. But now we have decks like this that are incredibly resilient. And Surgical doesn't stop this deck. They have packs, win from here. So there's the Memory Journey package as we expected. They've got Thoughtseize. I'm going to count their Thoughtseize. 1, 2, 3, and they might have had a Thoughtseize in hand, but they didn't need to use it. Wait, no, I see 4 Thoughtseize. Okay, and then 2 therapy as we expected. 4 packs. Yeah, this is like all in turbo. Just does not respect any of the normal aspects of Magic the Gathering. I see all 8 Spirit Guides. Yeah, nothing new to be learned here. Thassa's Oracle is in their graveyard. You want to check before you concede that Thassa's Oracle and I don't actually see Dread because they may have to take the other line, and there might be a way that they should be able to therapy themselves for Dread Return. I'm going to just let this play out. We have plenty of time. If you haven't seen how it wins, so they have therapy in there. They can just flash that back and grab whatever else they need to get. Oh, they did have the Dread Return. I just didn't see it. Yeah, MTGO makes it really hard to like look through somebody's deck because you can't sort it. When you're searching your deck, you can sort, but MTGO tries to stay true to like keeping graveyard order. I really wish they would just change the rules so the graveyard order didn't matter. It's ridiculous that graveyard order matters. There's like 2 or 3 cards in all of there's a reanimation of spell, and then there's like the ink blot guy from like the first set, Nether something. Okay, so any changes here being on the play? I don't think so. Stoneforge into Lion's Sash is so slow. I mean, it is good, obviously. I actually don't know if it's good enough because you'd have to have a ton of mana too. But so you could argue that maybe we should be cutting the Stoneforge package completely and just leave Lion's Sash in as a random card we could draw that would be good. And then we have more blue cards because we've got Narset. We still have lots of ways of closing the game. I don't think that's going to be an issue. We've got Murktides. We've got Borrow. We didn't see anything related. Maybe we keep like Hydroblast doesn't do anything in this context. Maybe we bring a Plow in. Just like we got in that one situation where I don't think it'll matter. I think our opponent might presume, probably correctly, that we board all our Plows out. This is not a keep. It's a trap hand. Daze is not going to be enough. This is another hand that we can't keep, sadly. We need turn 0 interaction. Grafdigger's Cage is the best card. They do have answers to that. On the play, on the draw, they will bring in their Grafdigger's Cage answers, but on the play, they don't need them because they're just going to win immediately before giving you a turn. And I will tell you, I'm not trying to jinx this, but like I've lost so many trophies to just randomly queuing into this deck and just them having the nut draw. And it's incredibly frustrating. So sorry to bring you along for the ride on this misery. And now we're mulliganing to 5 and we can't keep this. Island Ponder, it's a folly. They've kept 7. They are almost certainly going to be able to beat us here. I think we have to keep this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put back lands. And I will put back... I think we put back a day, so at least we have Tamiya. Well, Tamiya's not going to do anything on her own. Yeah, I think we keep the interaction. Just in case. Like they lay off because we dazed them. I mean, we could definitely Tommy and start creating clues. Maybe it was a mistake. We can surveil here. Nothing turn 1. That's actually not good for us because that means that they're going to have even more cards. And they may just discard something here in the end step and then reanimate. That's a... So this is where they... discard bridge. Interesting. Okay, well, that's a dead card. So that is actually good for us that they're discarding bridge. I am tempted to go ahead and brainstorm to see if I can find a land. Okay, we found a land. Borrowers are fine. They can come in and close the game eventually. So we've got double days if we need it, but most likely days pitch force. Because here's their land tapped. Okay, well, they're giving us a lot of turns, but they probably just presume that we've got like a really strong... We're not doing anything for 2 turns, just hoping that they don't accumulate the resources they need. Nothing to be done here. Draw another borrower and pass. And we are forced to kind of play their game where you just mulligan into like idiot mode, as Bosch and Roll calls it, and just sit here. Okay, now they're doing something. Therapy is going to name force. That is fine. Okay, and now if they have any creature, they can potentially flashback for massive damage. But now they know that they just have to beat days. If they bolt this in, we'll know we're dead. Because they are not... Okay, so we actually may have a shot here, like an extra turn or 2. Okay, that's a great rip. We're still chilling, though. One more land, and we'll get Borrower into play, and we'll start hitting. Daisies are off now. Informer, I have to force... Okay. So they may very well have like reanimate. I'm going to pitch, and I'm going to hold up both my daisies just to prevent them from being able to reanimate this turn. And then next turn, we're going to die because they will easily be able to reanimate this if they have to reanimate. So let's exile Borrower. We only need 1 Borrower to kill them. It's just that we need multiple turns to do so. We're getting lag, which is not an issue because we have 15 minutes on the clock. Okay, they let it go. Here's the reanimate. No, they're going to wait a turn and then reanimate. If they have the reanimate. I think they only may play like 1 or 2 reanimates. Now we have Borrower in step, which will come out and start beating face. Pedal. Okay, so Daze is really off. Dark Ritual. Yep, and sometimes they get a second one. Like they have 8 of these in their entire deck. Triggers Bridge. We just have to hope that one of their key cards is stranded in their hand. Yeah, so frustrating. I do not like playing against this deck. And you may say, like what was I supposed to do? Like, I didn't know that they were going to take 2 or 3 turns. And yeah, you can't assume that they're going to take 2 or 3 turns. Because like probably 70, 80% of the time they just go. They have 1 Narcomoeba. So unfortunately, where are all their other Narcomoebas? They're in their hand. So how many bridges do they have in their graveyard? Because we might have a window here. I promise I'm not just like, I genuinely think that there might be a window here. 1. So if we get rid of this zombie with a balance effect, they have 1 bridge. They can Memory's Journey. They can just put the cards, like they can put a pedal and a, yeah. All their packs are in the yard, so we know that this can resolve. All they need is 1 and they get their Poxwalkers back. How many Poxwalkers do they have here? 1, 2. So they have 2 therapies, but I don't think there's a way for them to get back up on creatures, but I still think that they can win. Is the Oracle in the yard? Oracle is not in the yard. They have to therapy themselves. They did go for the Charbelcher juke here. Okay, so here's my thinking. I borrow this out of play. They have to sack this. They get a token for this. They have to target themselves. They can recast, but we could daze it. All right, I'm not going to overthink it. I'm just going to go ahead and borrow this out of play. So Narcomoeba resolves. If they attempt to daze, I will just double daze, or if they attempt to kill us, I'll double daze, and that may restrict their options a little bit. Jack-o'-lantern, okay. Sacking. Oh, they just have the Oracle in hand. They may have a Spirit Guide. I mean, there's no reason not to just try. They pay. If their last card is Spirit Guide, I think their last card is Narcomoeba, though. Yeah, Spirit Guide. I guess you can win with just 1 Narcomoeba now. Like, that's a new innovation. I've never seen somebody just play a single Narcomoeba. But yeah, you can, freaking frustrating as hell. See you in round 4. All right, I'm back. I took a deep breath. If one day I just quit uploading videos, it means one of 2 things. I've died, or I've just gotten so sick of playing against Oops All Spells that I've just given up on Magic. And I hope that doesn't sound over dramatic, but it's seriously frustrating to play against that deck. Willie 143, good luck. Have fun. They are an unknown opponent. We're on the play, thankfully. This is a great hand against an unknown opponent. It's got Surveil Land. It's got Force. It's got double Planeswalker. Got removal. I mean, this is like an incredible hand. You know, the only change I would make would be like put back a Planeswalker and put a Wasteland in it, and we'd have literally everything covered. Maybe not literally, but most stuff covered. Okay, Tomb. All right. So this is great. What I'm going to do is I'm going to force pitch Narset. Narset is good against the One Ring specifically. And then I'll Surveil and I'll get the Stoneforge. Chalice actually isn't that big of a deal here. I can just bounce it with Teferi later. I'm going to let it resolve. Yeah, one of the great things about this deck is it is really resilient to Chalice. We probably only have like 15 1-drops in the deck, which is far fewer than most decks I play. That is a 1-drop that I'll just put in the yard. So our opponents, yeah, they're almost certainly on Moon Stompy, which is, I don't think it's a great matchup, but I think it's better to go ahead and just plan to deal with Blood Moon through Force. Yeah, I'm gonna get the equipment, and we're gonna start going to town. This is what the deck does, and I'm so happy I've got a round where I can do that instead of just managing a combo deck. I guess technically the first round we did get to do the thing with the Aetherspark. They conceded before we got to show its true power, but an Aetherspark on top of a Murktide, it's a beautiful thing. Like seeing a mom with her baby. It's just like, it just makes you happy. Bombardiers. They did play a land drop, so we don't have to worry about Blood Moon this turn. We don't have Force Up. I don't really want them to throw this Mox at this and for me to not get the Aetherspark in. I think I'm just going to Force. And I will pitch Narset because we need to use Teferi to get rid of this. We have Borrower that can also get rid of it. Yeah, Bombardier's Fury. Okay. Well, I'm glad I did that because we're getting a 2-for-1 here. They could have waited a turn and cast this. They're really afraid of the Aetherspark. I mean, I fear the unknown as well. And it is very unknown. I've never seen anybody play it. It's like a 3-day-old card on MTGO. Okay, so options. One, we can just end step bounce the Chalice. I think it's the only option, actually. Yeah, because there's a Chalice. So if they Blood Moon here, we're pretty screwed. We'll bounce the Blood Moon out of play, and they won't be able to recast it. That is unfortunate, but yeah, that's going to get in. And what I'll do is I'll just bounce the Chalice out of the play, and then I can both Tomeo and Plow. And then they can just recast it. Okay, I think we definitely hit the Chalice. Land, please. Day's not super great here. All right, so I'm just going to Plow because this is my window to do so. And I'm going to play the Tomeo out. And if they play a Blood Moon, we're like super dead in the water. I mean, we're not totally dead. Like we could organically rip an island and rip our second Brazen Borrower, but I think it's unlikely. And if I were them, I'd definitely be digging for Blood Moon here. I stand by that initial... No, I don't stand by it. I really do think that it would have been much better for me to just get an island and not surveil there. Since they did show that they had Sundering Eruption, I should have gotten the Blood Moon there. So sorry, my excellent friends. You can add that to the punt counter. Whether we're punished or not, it remains a punt. A lot of other scary things they could do here. One Ring. All right, our opponent has resolved a Chalice, and now... After resolving Chalice, they are attempting to resolve Blood Moon, giving me a prayer of countering it. They have 0 mana floating. This is huge if true. And just like that, we're still alive. Yes! Now we can go grab the basic. We'll decide what basic to get later. But the important thing is that they have 1 card in hand. This flips very big, very dangerous if they rip something good here. Another Fable is quite good. I think it's worth potentially drawing a Force and forcing this. I'm going to go ahead and get get a Plains here. We're more likely to draw a Prismatic Ending than we are to draw the other Brazen Borrower. That may not be exactly right. Let's go ahead and crack this. Do we get a Force? We get a Wasteland. Okay, so they are going to be able to do quite a bit of damage here. We're in a bad way. I think what we do here is we probably just... Doesn't do anything here. Yeah, I think we do need a Teferi. And I think we just skip days completely. Skip that step. So if we Teferi and we bounce this to hand, they can't copy it. And they don't really have great attacks. I don't want to bounce this back because then that gives them a lot of value. So I'm thinking about just keeping Tomeo back to protect for a turn because I do need a creature that I can equip Aetherspark to. Let's see what we'd rip. But we are going to hit that. Okay, Cryptic Coat plus Aetherspark, BFFs. I think it's fine to attack, and if they kill my Teferi, I don't really care. I don't want to sit around and defend Teferi forever. Let's see. I mean, Teferi is like a potential path to getting rid of this Chalice, though, a couple turns from now. Yeah, I think I'll just chill. I don't want to be spending my... I've got things to put my mana into for the next few turns anyway. So blocking is totally fine. Pyro. Yep, Pyrogoyf. They have 1 mana floating, so I can't do anything about this. They're going to nuke my board, I'm sure. They can copy it. They have colorless to copy. Wait, it's colorless? Yeah, I'm going to make sure they see that, though. If they don't see that, they can do that. But if they do it, then... Okay, how much damage did we take here? So now the power... Okay, the power it goes on the stack before the Planeswalker goes in the yard. We're taking a lot here, though. 4/5. One of them is hasty. Actually, you know what? I could have dazed, and then I wouldn't be looking at 2 of these. I think that was a misplay. So that one dies. I don't really have a good answer to this. They can do the same thing they just did, and I think we're dead. Prismatic Ending on this would potentially do it. See, they copy. Yeah, I think we're dead. I think I screwed up pretty badly by not dazing there, even though it would have set us back. Like it would have potentially given us an extra turn because they wouldn't have been able to attack Teferi, and we would have been able to plus, and that would have distracted them for a little bit. Okay, so Hydroblast comes in. Yeah, I don't think we were likely to win that game, but I do think that we were more likely to win the game had we done that than what we did do. So this is a pre-war matchup for sure. We don't care about Lion Sash here, so we can get rid of that. They don't use our graveyard for anything, but they do kill our stuff. I think generally cutting days in this matchup is totally fine. They have Spirit Guides and stuff. Narset does lock down the One Ring, but if they... And this is yet another thing that gets swept up in a Fury. I'm going to keep the Aetherspark in. I think we cut the Narsets for 2 oblique of a effect. Borrower's not fantastic, but it's probably better than Teferi. I mean, Teferi is pretty bad. It costs a lot of mana. Do I think Tamiyo is better than Teferi? Yes, especially when we have pre-war and we have the Aetherspark. I'm going to take these out. So now we're pretty lean. We're pretty mean. I like all the exile-based removal. If we can get an island and a plains into play, then we can Prismatic Ending Blood Moon with the mountain that they provide us. I think this is a keep. I'm going to open Tamiyo just so we have something going in case they have a slow start. They usually don't. We have Force. We have Wasteland for their land. Tamiyo is best. Like one of the reasons Wasteland is so good in control decks is because of Tamiyo. Like essentially whenever your opponent is not doing anything because they are having to like dig for land or you waste their land and they don't do anything for a turn cycle as a result, that favors you because you've got Tamiyo creating a clue for that turn and you just pulled ahead a card essentially. So what I think we do is we just go ahead and open island. This does mean we can't fetch plains if they do a turn 1 Blood Moon, but I'm probably just going to... Oh, actually, I can just bounce Blood Moon out of play and then I can fetch. So I won't force a Blood Moon here. But if I need to force something else, then I won't have access to Brazen Borrower. They put a Blood Moon behind there, maybe because we opened island. So if we just bounce the token out of play and waste them, they're sitting there, they can sift. I think I'm just going to force and waste. Because like I don't like the back half of it in a loot effect either. Like that's one of the most force-worthy cards in their deck, in my humble opinion. Certainly like the most force-worthy early card. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an imp. They could certainly... I got my clue. These are fine. We may not need the 3rd land. Let's put these lands back. Well, if they Volcanic Eruption our island, then we will be sad that we... So flips. They can Fury this, but it's a 2-for-1. And really it'll be a 3-for-1 because we already have the clue out. They Blood Moon here, that is a problem. But that does mean that we can potentially Tamiyo, and we do have another Brazen Borrower in our deck, and we may also naturally draw our land if we draw half our deck. Broadside is scary. They can throw. They can attack for 1 and then throw, but that's not going to kill. Okay, great. I'm feeling good. So we draw. I am going to shuffle away that third land. I'm going to go get a plains, and I'm just going to plow. I could have brainstorm there, but I actually think my hand's fine. I am going to ponder, though, just in case I found a force. Mystic is pretty damn good. We don't want the Aetherspark because we'll just grab it with Mystic. I don't think we need this land that badly. I'll take the land next turn, and we'll just draw the Mystic. Now this is out of Fury range. They're going to have to kill it. Let's see. Pyrogoyf might do it. There's a Pyrogoyf. So this is still alive. Okay, so we're drawing land. I'm thinking about this. If we brainstorm, we might be able to find a plow. Okay, we found force, which is good. We'll put back Aetherspark. Put back... So my thinking here is we're just going to plus Tomio, and they're almost certainly going to go kill Tomio. We could put Stoneforge Fistic in front of Tomio, or in front of Pyrogoyf to keep Tomio alive. Tomio could then sack, regrow, plow. They've got 2 cards in hand. We're getting to the neighborhood of potentially casting force. We could also put back the force negation. We could go get Coat, and then we have Coat as our potential pitch to force, and as something that we can play that can distract while we try to get our lands up and keep Tomio alive. I think that's an okay strategy. So I'm going to just go ahead and go get a Tundra here. Now we're going to go white. If they just have another Pyro, we're really going to want to be able to force it, because Pyro into Pyro is death because they trigger each other. It's like really messed up how it works. The other option is, of course, just to get the force. Oh, the pre-war. So what I think I do is I chump, and then I just cast pre-war from hand. And then we can get a second card, and I don't think they can do anything about that. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to be bold. And if they have another Pyrogoyf, we're screwed. But yeah. And when Stoneforge comes back, it won't necessarily be big enough to wait, actually it'll take a type out of the graveyard, but yeah, they're going to go up to 5 power once they kill my Stoneforge. Or if they kill Tomio, either one of these is going to get Pyrogoyf up to 5. I think just forcing there and like it's too passive. Like Tomio is not going to do enough on her own. But what I can do is if I can pre-war, I can go get the Coat, and then not only do I have a big Stoneforge in play, I also have the ability, and Stoneforge will, like if I plus this, Stoneforge will be big enough to successfully fend off Pyrogoyf, at least with its current size. Then we get the Coat, and then we have force up. And then what we do is we just chill and Tomio and try to get ahead. Like the longer the game goes on, it gets way better for us. Okay, they're not tapping. Maybe they just don't have anything to do here. I'm a Daze deck. Pre-war is so good. I'm so glad that they finally added it to MTGO. It's definitely, like, it's really interesting. Like, in the span of a year, all 3 of the equipment that Stoneblade plays cycled. First, we got Cryptic Coat, and I can't remember. I think that was like Murderers of Karlov Mansion or something. Was that? Yeah, I think it was like a year ago that it came out. And then we got Pre-War on MTGO. Okay, this is not. Now, I probably just let the Stoneforge through, and I just pre-war to get my Tomio back. I think that's fine. Tomio has a lot of toughness. People usually say something else to like that a creature has a lot of toughness, but I will just say she has a lot of toughness since this is a family channel. Okay, so we can both pre-war and clue crack here, and we can do so at instant speed, which I think is totally fine. I think we are going to be taking 5 here. Did they forget to attack last turn? Maybe they think we have Kaldra. I don't know why they didn't. Yeah, okay. Well, the correct play is to just Tomio at instant speed, because we're not going to be blocking with her. We're just going to be taking basic land card. Okay, well, that's unfortunate. We're losing our basic planes. Creatures without flying can't block this turn. That's okay. We're going to have a creature with flying in just a second. I am at 12 minutes. I'm just going to go ahead and pre-war. Okay, Tomio, the 2/5. This does have flying and it can block. They don't bother attacking. Well, that is fantastic for us. I'm going to go get a Tundra, I guess. And we're going to hope that they don't have... I'm in no hurry to flip Tomio. Force is a great draw. I think they're at 1 card. I think we got this game on lock. This definitely helps solidify the lock. 2 permanents. So we'll just attack with Tomio here in the air. She has Vigilance. It's incredible. This card is awesome. A drop in life. I mean, we could draw something like a land or something. I'm going to go ahead and crack. Oh, but yeah, that'll do it. Then we have force, and then we can just kill them very quickly. We can also shrink the Goyf. And yeah, they have instant and sorcery over there. And for a hug, overpowered. Ever since Sarah Angel, Vigilance has been insane. Okay, then we do 2 damage. I'm going to play this out. Go to the moon. And keep playing if you want to. All right. Game 3. No sideboard substitutions. I like the way the deck is now. All right. This hand has a basic plains. Like, this is a great hand. I'm not going to throw it back. I am going to cry if they have Blood Moon. Is that correct? I mean, this doesn't do anything quickly. They kept 7. Yeah, I think we need a mulligan this. I mean, I love this hand, but this has a basic island, which is more important. Double waste. I'm going to keep this. If they don't just explode in our face, Cryptic Coat goes back, and we can plow and waste, like whatever they do. And if they do a Blood Moon as their first thing, then I can ponder and hope to find something. If they have Chalice, that's really bad for us, but we will waste a couple times, and maybe that'll stymie them long enough for us to get out of this situation. Chalice is definitely the scariest thing they could have here. And you could make an argument for me needing to mull again. Oh, absolutely love to see it. And that means that they have a land light hand. Prismatic Ending is the exact thing that we need to dig out of this. So we just have to hope that, their deck plays, I don't know, like 24 mana sources, 28 or something like that. But sometimes they do get these lumpy draws. I will hit any non-basic that they put out there. And if they don't, I will probably just ponder trying to find we aren't going to be able to find a force. Ponder trying to find basic planes probably. Because that is the main thing that I'm worried about at this point. Like, I imagine they're playing all Blood Moon effects. All right, Mountain. Love to see it. Okay, so I think we just keep Consign up and we chill on the Ponder. I want to play this out. I know that it's kind of baiting them into potentially playing the Blood Moon now. But I want to be able to plow if they play a creature. I want to be very mana efficient here. Because time is of the essence against these decks. You have to establish yourself early. 7 cards in hand. Pretty terrifying. Ancient Tomb would be pretty scary. I just have to hope that they go for some artifact that I can interact with Consign. Okay. That is a perishable land. I shan't waste it. Okay, this is something that I can at least plow the token, so I will do that. I don't think it's worth consigning the trigger. I think it's better to just plow. Let's see. If we just consign the trigger, though, I think it's more likely that we're going to be able to do something with plow later. Yeah, I think I'm going to do this. Stoneforge Mystic to get pressure. I want to find a plains. I think that's the priority. This is a path to a plains. And I'm just going to take my medicine and get a plains here. Because I think Blood Moon is the scariest thing they could do. Maybe they kill their own land. If they give us a mountain from a Blood Moon, that's great for us because then we have Prismatic Ending up and we can end the Fable before it flips. So I'm actually hoping that they play a Blood Moon here or a Magus. But the fact that they have Sundering Eruption in their deck is pretty crazy. Okay, Blood Moon. Thank you for doing that. All right, so yeah, I think what we do is they're going to have 2 mana. They're not playing a land for turn. So what I'll do is I will just Prismatic End the Fable, and the subsequent turn I will start Stoneforge. Wasteland, probably not a big rip. I think it's more important to hit the Fable here than the Blood Moon. We have lots of other ways to remove Blood Moon later. This keeps them on 2 mana, hopefully. And then later we remove this, we can start wasting all their lands that they played out. I wouldn't be surprised if they had Fury in their hand. That's fine. Now they are back up to 3 mana sources. If they start like playing Magus of the Moon on top of this and stuff like that, then it does get a little harder for us to get our colors back. But we can cast almost everything in our deck for just white and blue. I am a little worried about Sundering Eruption. Okay, so they put a Simian Spirit Guide, but they didn't do anything. What instant speed stuff do they have that could be relevant here? I think I'm going to Stoneforge, and then I can ponder after I've because I don't want to do that before I shuffle, because I'm definitely going to do this. So the first one, I think, goes and gets... I'd love for them to just dead gun this with it on the stack so I can just get the thing. They're waiting. Yeah, but the reason you do that is you're going to shuffle, so you want to be able to ponder and keep more than one card if you like it. Now we will... I might as well play this out. They don't need to know that I have a land. Okay, there's the Pyroblast. That is fine. Now we play this out, and we hope that they don't have Fury or some way to remove this. I mean, they could, at this point, like Broadside, that would be scary. We wouldn't immediately be able to deal with it. We'd be able to deal with it next turn. There's the Fury. That is okay. That is a 2-for-1. And we can just cast the Aetherspark and equip nothing. If not, land, please. Oh, perfect. Perfect. Such a perfect draw. Okay, check this out. Boom. Tamiyo. Boom. Aetherspark. Equip. And suddenly we are stable. I am so excited. Because we can attack next turn, and we can draw a card, we can flip her, and then we can do all kinds of stuff. The Blood Moon. Yeah, so we're not going to have our colored mana, but I don't think it's going to matter too much this game. We're not going to be able to Merc. Force is not castable. So I am going to go ahead and just attack here. So we get the clue. So we have two options. We can keep her around, and it does increase the rate of usage of Aetherspark, or we can just draw. Let's draw. It's a flipper. Okay, we ripped a Merc that we can't use. We ripped a backup Tamiyo. So I'm going to plus here. I can't equip a second time, unfortunately. I do think it's worth playing out the Tamiyo, though. And then we'll just hold up Force and Plow. And next turn, we'll start doing the same thing. But we're not going to be able to draw multiple times because of Tamiyo. But if we get to draw half our deck, that's great. I think we're actually in a decent position to be able to do that. 5 minutes on the clock. Clue Crack, Brainstorm, can't use it, unfortunately, for fear of Tamiyo redundancy. Let's go ahead and plus here. Attack, so I'm plussing this Planeswalker as well. It's weird to think of it as a Planeswalker. We're going to attack, and we're just going to chill and stop anything that can stop us from ultimating. We find Prismatic Ending, we can kill this, we can bounce this, we can Merc. Or maybe we just get 2 Prismatic Endings. We'll see what we draw, but they may concede when we draw our deck. Stoneforge into, okay, what is it? Chalice of the Void. Yes, it's kind of annoying, but it's not a big deal. Again, we're just trying to Tamiyo Ultimate here. Check the clue. Prismatic Ending. All right, and Prismatic Ending can do a lot here. Plus here. I think I am going to go ahead and end. We'll need to do it eventually. Tamiyo can like start rebuying. Equip here, get another +1/+1 counter. That's so cool that you can like buff your creature every turn. We're going to come in for a hug, take 2, and we will pass with the ability to crack a clue next turn. We can add 10 mana of any color too, so Blood Moon won't actually matter. We can just play out our entire hand. This is going to be awesome. I'm stoked. I'm just worried about time. Our opponent may just pack it in here. If they saw our hand, they would, because we've got like so much interaction. It's not even fun. Megas of the Moon, don't really care. It's one more thing we have to deal with next turn. Cracking the clue actually does give us an extra card, so I will do it. Hydroblast, I'm just going to be destroy target permanent if it's red. I'll hit this one. We can Plow. We actually don't really even need to ultimate. Oh, wait. No, we can't. I think it makes sense to go ahead and attack first. Take 2. Create a clue. Yeah, I guess I could have equipped it. Okay, let's draw half our deck. Okay, and you may think, okay, so I think did we draw a Hydro? Did not. Do white, colorless. Play this out. And then we can just play it out. But I'm going to equip the like 3 forces in hand. I'm confident we'll be able to win. Pyrogoyf, let's just, okay, I'm just going to attack, be blocked. Then I'm going to use the Aetherspark to a bunch of mana. And then I can cast my Murktide. Of any color, let's just add blue. And we don't have the other mark. I will just cast this. Quite dead on board to run out of time. Okay. A 1 ring. Let's do anything fancy here. I'm just going to attack for our opponent, maybe hoping that like through some stroke of luck, we don't more than enough. All right. Wow. Aetherspark, ladies and gentlemen. Incredible card. Uh-oh. My opponent's not doing anything. Come on, just let me close the game. I don't want to have to sit here and babysit the clock. Okay. So to my opponent's credit. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and attack. Okay. This is death for them. Yeah. They were just having trouble getting it to load. Okay. Yeah. So I have had players like do weird things like, okay, I'm going to take a game action. Then I'm going to walk away, make a cup of tea. Now I'm going to come back and like just bleeding out my clock because I was down to 1 minute. So all of these have been close. Every single game has gone to 3. games. These have been really fun, interactive. We're going into the final round. Our only loss was to, like in my opinion, pretty close. Like literally came down to 1 mana. But maybe they wouldn't have done what they did if they had known that, they knew what we were doing. So maybe they would have just waited a turn or something. But the game against Oops, and I'm going to try to calm down and everything. But like, I'm just so sick of having my trophies ruined by this. But who knows? Like, I don't want to be presumptive and think that this would be a trophy. We still got one more game we need to win. All right, we're up against the current trophy leader, TonyScapone. It is notable that we are recording this on Friday, and he does what's called Fair Friday, so he could be on anything. I'm going to keep this, and I'm going to hope he is actually observing Fair Friday. They're mulling to 6. Please don't combo me. Please be on Fair Friday. Oh, no. All right, well, we're going to find out what they're on. Yeah, I said, I was so presumptive. I was like, they ruined my trophy. But, like, I'm up against maybe the second best combo player in the world. Certainly one of the top 3 combo players. Like, certainly, like, well-known combo players. Brian Cook. The other one. Yeah, they're going to beseech here. The important thing is to scoop so they don't know what we're on because they're about to win. Necrodominance. Okay, so they won't necessarily win, but they probably will win. Let's just see what they do. I am not going to scoop. They do hit a fail rate. I'm going to F6 because any sane person would have interacted at some point if that was possible. And we'll see whether they hit their fail rate. This deck is infamous for failing. Very efficient. Like, I'm just going to comment in real time just to show you how quickly Tony sees his lines and just goes in and wins. It's very impressive. Manamorphose. So until they actually cast the card that discards their hand. Okay, Born Upon a Wind. So now they win. Because they just need the Born Upon a Wind. I'm going to assume they have enough mana. They have nearly enough Storm. Okay, so Tony is doing a modern challenge, and he says he's just trophy racing, which I understand. They just restarted the league, and he has already got 3 trophies. Yeah, I should have conceded. Okay, whatever. He's got the... So, yeah. I shouldn't have F6 because now he knows that I'm on Stoneblade. Okay, it doesn't really change anything. I think against this deck, which is not a great matchup, Consign, Stop Storm. I think we just board in like our Pyroblast or Hydroblast every blue card. Like, we're not going to get a turn. This is it. Like, even more glass cannony than Oops. By the way, this is not like the deck to be playing. Like, people think like, oh, I've got a good combo matchup when they put Force of Will in their deck. No, you don't. I'm sorry. But like, a good combo player is just going to completely destroy you unless you have like Thoughtseize. Like, I would say a good combo matchup would be like Death Shadow, which has 4 Thoughtseize, 4 Days, 4 Force of Wills, and 4 Wastelands. Like, that is a good combo matchup. I don't think like your typical mid-range blue deck that has some forces in it is a good matchup against combo. But I am going to do my darndest here. Harbinger could lock them out if the game goes on, and it is a blue card. I'm going to take out the Stoneforge package. I don't think that matters. I don't think Aetherspark matters. I think cards are going to fly around a whole lot, and at the end of the chain of cards, it's better than, Cryptic Coat and Murktide are our ways of closing. I do think Narset and Teferi have a role to play. I'm not going to cut a land, even though it's tempting, because if I get like a really great hand, I don't want to have to, I'll just bring in the 2 Pyros. I think it's fine. Is it possible that they juke into some sort of... Let's take a look at their other... Because we can look them up. Because they're probably playing the same... Okay, so they don't have it on... Oh, Necrodominance. This is what they were playing yesterday. They've already gotten 3 trophies since then. Wild Cantor. Okay, let's take a look at the sideboard. Mind the Break Trap. They don't have like some crazy sideboard juke. But there are enough red cards in here that Hydro is good. And the only blue cards are Born Upon a Wind, and they're not playing Pact. Wait, they are playing Pact. Okay. I think we go like this. I mean, I would like to fit the other... Yeah, I'm not sure that... Do they do anything with Prism that is... I'm just going to cut... I'll just do it like that. I'm not going to make any more edits because I don't want to tempt fate. That like we're going to... Somehow, there's going to be some server lag and we're not going to submit. Okay, I'd like to play first. This is a keep. It's a force hand. We're doing other stuff too. We have Consign, and we've got Mergent to work toward. I'm going to keep, and I'm going to keep a mana up, and I'm going to hope they just go for it. And the server is making Tony think, thought artificially long about this, but it was a pretty easy keep. Like you want 2 points of interaction, and we do have it. It's just not turn 0, but we're on the play, so we don't need the turn 0. So if I think it's fine to just have a surveil trigger. Like I'm not going to Tomio here. If it becomes clear that they're not going to go for it, like, and they don't have to go for it turn 1. There's no rule that they have to go for it turn 1. What is their interaction here? Now we have a little more time to look. So it's really just packed. And we saw a Durus. Yeah, the 1 Durus. Okay. Which they can cast later on and take. Note that they have to play Durus because they're at 1 when they go off. They're mulling to 6. Okay, they're just doing the math. So we have to stop either Beseech or Pact or Necrodominance itself. And if they force, we may get a chance to consign the they're mulling to 5. We may get a chance to consign the actual storm trigger, but because there's only a small chance that they actually draw the Durus. But by that point they may have they'll probably have more packs in hand. All right. Let's see if we're dead. And if I seem like I'm being like unequal in my criticism on this Necrodominance deck, I think this is just as much a blight on the format as the other one that I was talking about. Oops. The difference is that I like Tony. And I don't know who that other person was. Okay, so we're going to force here. And the pitch is going to be Borrower. We could borrow this out of play, actually. So I think the pitch has got to be Murktide, and then we figure out a way to win later. They're down to 2 cards. They do have the Pact. Okay, so I believe we can consign this trigger, and then they just die to their own Pact. So this resolves. So the trigger goes on the stack. I believe it is a trigger that we can, and then they die to their Pact. They could have a second Pact. All right, we did it. Wow. Okay. Yeah, like turn 0 combo decks. Get them out of here. Like I have no problem with like stuff like Breakfast or the Epic Storm or any deck that like actually does some interactive stuff. I'm like, actually it's okay for a combo deck to occasionally win turn 1, but when that's the entire point, I think it's toxic. So I think Prismatic Ending can come out. We didn't see, I mean, technically the game could drag on and we might be able to kill a Necrodominance that way. Do they use their graveyard for anything? I think we keep the Prismatic Endings on the merit that they can take out Moxen, which our opponent does play. And in some extreme situations, they can take out, I'm not sure whether they're playing Nature's Claim, probably to deal with like Pithing Needle. That's another thing that stops them, and Beseiju. Yeah, and if they just float a Wild Cantor out, we can potentially kill that too. Yeah. All right, we're going back in. Nerves. This is for the 4-1. The difference in MTGO between getting a 4-1 and getting a 3-0. Oh, this is a keep. I'm going to pretend I'm thinking for a minute, and I'll finish my thought. So if you 4-1 on MTGO, you get 6 chests. Where the expected value is like $2 approximately. So that's like $12. Plus, you get extra play points. You get 120 instead of just 100. If you 3-1 or if you 3-2, you only get 1 chest and you only get 100 play points. So you basically get your money back plus a chest. So 4-1 is definitely better, and it's obviously much harder to do. Let's keep mulling to 5. See if we can deny trophy to TonyScapone. So Wasteland's a good card. I don't think they have any non-wastable cards in their deck. They're going to 3 cards. They can still win on 3. We're not out of the woods. So what we'll do is we'll just play the Tarn and we'll just chill for several turns. They could have like land, Dark Ritual, Necrodominance. Okay. We'll see what they have. But they're not going to have interaction. Okay, so that is a waste target. I think we consign first. We want to make sure we have the ability to do that. We now have a WinCon has entered the building. End step, I can surveil to get a card in my yard. And I'll put like pretty much anything in my yard at this point because we do want to kill them with Murktide quickly. That is our priority now. So wait to the end step to make sure they can't cast sorceries. Now we'll surveil. I am still in the market to waste them and just buy time. I mean, we're going to technically need that to cast the Murktide once all is said and done. This is an extra card. The Murktide doesn't have to be big. It just has to hit the table. No cards. We don't really have anything we want to put back. We can end-step Brainstorm and Shuffle if we want to, and that'll fill the yard a little bit for Merc. We're gonna wait. We're gonna be super safe here. if you're like, hey, who cares? He's got 4 cards. What is he going to do? No, this is TonyScapone. You don't mess with Tony. You don't take Tony lightly. Okay, so I think most likely the Pyroblast is, I'll put back the land. I mean, that does allow us to have a land up. We've got another force, though. I think if they're going to override our interaction, it's going to be through... we could just wait another turn. The other thing I could do is I could just brainstorm again. I think that's okay. I'm going to brainstorm again just to further fill up the yard. And it could be that we find like a bunch of bad cards. I want to be able to cast a Murktide land. Okay, Wasteland's great. So my instinct is we've got so many forces that we've basically got a force for everything that they could do over there. We waste and then we just Murk. Put this back. We'll draw this for the turn. Let's go ahead and waste. And now they're going to be on a 5-turn clock. We're tapping out of interaction. They have not conceded. And when they have not conceded, they will concede when the game is over in their mind. So the game is still live. 3 forces doesn't mean anything to them. Like, okay, they conceded. We got it. 4-1. Okay, so narrow loss to oops all spells. But I mean, we're playing a brew. This is a brew. I just want to emphasize, like, I'm not taking some deck list from like, a challenge that won and playing that. Like I'm building this and tuning this. And there are going to be like bumps along the road. Maybe there was something I could have done in the oops match. Maybe it was just like a no-win, Kobayashi Maru, but I'm going to keep doing my best here with this brew. Like I love brewing and I don't want to just play, the top deck, or I don't want to play a solve deck. Like I know a lot of people that enjoy watching me play Delver, but like Delver to me, I can get better as a Delver player, but okay, I'm like one of hundreds of really good Delver players now. Great. Or I can continue to like, kind of like try to push what I think are underpowered archetypes like Stoneblade and see if we can get a little bit farther with them. And my instinct is to do the latter, to try to push archetypes that are, a little weaker. I'm just very happy because this league, we saw a whole lot of sparks fly, at the literal spark. It was great in that Moon Stompy matchup. I do think this is the better of the 2 decks. I don't want to spoil the other one, but I did well with the other one too. I just didn't trophy. But I like this style of play more because I think control is actually better positioned right now than like straight tempo. I think like the ability to like sit back and think and make plays instead of like, oh, I drew a Delver. I'm kind of like obliged to play this Delver and start like trying to attack and stuff. Like the game does get better for us the longer it goes on when we're playing Tamiyo versus Delver. And that's the main change. And then the introduction of red was fine. I don't think it hurt anything. I didn't miss having like a second blue source. Again, if you take over the game, it doesn't matter. You can bounce. Like we faced 3 Blood Moon effects and it wasn't a thing. We had our basics, and if we needed to, we could have just fought through them all. Tamiyo Ultimate is a heck of a accelerant in terms of just being able to close quickly. So we got to do everything. Let's recap. So Tamiyo Ultimate, check. Aetherspark Ultimate, check. Giant Murktides beating the heck out of our opponents, check. I think the only thing we didn't do, we got like Teferi and Narset on the table and kind of locked our opponents out with that. Check. We didn't get to do the Army in the Can thing with Cryptic Coat, but, it did come out as a true name nemesis. And we were able to remove things. Like I definitely did not regret having the extra prismatic endings. I think it's better maybe than I've been giving it credit. I've been saying it's like a one of main deck maybe, but I think 3 of was fine. We didn't even go up against any decks where it's like particularly strong. We didn't go up against Nethergoyf decks. We didn't go up against Delver, but I think this deck, this version of the deck is probably like 90-10 against Delver. Like I'm not exaggerating. Like, maybe we don't have Snapcaster. Snapcaster is what really pushes it over the edge. When I'm playing Delver and my opponent has 3 prismatic endings and 4, plows, like I am terrified. I'm absolutely like, I feel a sense of hopelessness and dread. And when you've also got Snapcasters that can flash those back like a lot of the Jeskai decks, that's where it gets really bad. So there's kind of like old version of Stoneblade. I'm going to show you what that looks like, by the way. So this Storm Cannons 1 played against them. They just play Jeskai, 10th place in the challenge. Which I will point out is technically easier to get than just getting a 5-0 on League. But you don't get as many at-bats with Legacy Challenge because they only happen like 4 times a weekend unless you're like completely, a 24/7 party person, which is a great movie, by the way. Then you can't do all 4 of them. So you're looking at maybe doing 1, maybe 2 challenges a weekend, but you can do leagues all day long. TonyScapone's already done probably like 20 of them, and he's gotten 3 trophies already. So this is what I'm talking about, like the 3 snaps, and then just having like Batter Skull is another thing that Delver does not want to see. So if you just want to be Delver, play this, and then look at these. This is that basic heavy mana base that I've been trashing the entire time. Look at this: 6, 1, so 9 basics, and then they're playing 9 fetches, and then they're playing 2 duels. Right, they're very clean. If you really don't care about having multiple of any given color, but they do kind of care about having double islands. So there are going to be situations where they draw like plains and mountains, and they're not able to cast their Narset on curve. Or they're not able to cast their Jace on curve. Like, I really do think that dual lands are a tool, and you should use them. So thank you for attending my TED Talk. But like this is like the old school. There's this guy, Balenciaga, I think is like the luxury brand, Balenciaga and Boba. That's the person. And they play this kind of old version of Stoneblade. And I think, frankly, its days are numbered. I don't think Stoneforge Mystic, when you're, going and getting a Kaldra by itself, like, I don't think that's like a strong enough play. But I think when you're potentially going and you're getting pre-war formal wear, and you're bringing back a Tamio, which we did in the Moon Stompy matchup, I think that is totally legacy playable. And Max Dortion has a video where he goes and just like, or he didn't, I don't know if he has videos of this, but he did extremely well in Vegas. I think he like won like the Vegas event. It was like a big, 5K or 10K or something. And he did it with Stoneblade, and he wasn't even playing any Wastelands. I think this was before Frog was banned. But now that Frog has been banned, like, you don't necessarily have to be Esper. And Esper is my favorite color wedge, and that's the wedge that I would probably spend most of my time in if given the option. But I do think that there's an argument, if you're playing a slower version, play this, because you kind of get the draw denial in Narset. Bowmasters is really only good if you're also aggressively closing the game. Bowmaster is not great in control decks. Like, the main reason you play Bowmaster in control decks is because your opponent might play Bowmaster, and it's catastrophic. Bowmaster is the best answer for Bowmaster. So assuming that you're okay with like a Bowmaster being out, and I think we kind of are. We've got 7 answers to Bowmaster main deck, which is not nearly as many. Like, if you watch some of my blue-black tempo, like, I guess we have like 7 as well. Maybe, yeah, like 7 or we have 8, because we have the Bowmasters plus the Fatal Pushes and maybe some other little things that can deal with it. But Bowmaster is still extremely strong if you're in like a more tempo build. But I think if you're going to go into a control build, I think access to the Pyroblast and just having the very lightest red splash is practically free to do. And having the mountain on the sideboard, this is like tech that like a lot of people like raise an eyebrow, like that doesn't seem right. No, like, I'm not alone in doing this. I've seen Bosch and Roll do it. I've seen lots of people put the kind of play Jeskai with a mountain in the sideboard that you board in. And some matchups, if you're up against Eldrazi, you're just going to board it in and play 20 lands. So it's nice to be able to become a 20 land deck. But then you've got the leanness of a 19 land, and especially if you're playing days, you will need to make good use of your land drops, and you don't want lands kind of clogging up your hand. So 19 is the correct number of lands usually if you're playing days. And you could even go down to 18, which Delver sometimes does. Although INF Delver, which the video will drop soon, INF Delver does play 20 lands. Or I'm sorry, 19 lands. But like when I play Delver, I usually just do 18. So anyway, I'm just kind of sharing a bunch of random thoughts. As always, if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit subscribe, and just that's how I roll. I talk a lot. I'm a freaking diarrhea of the mouth man. And I share basically all my thoughts with very little filter, other than keeping in mind that kids could be watching. So I try to keep my language very PG. But I love this build, and I love Tamio, and I think she's a 4 of, even in like a control deck. Like, when I see a control deck that's not playing 4 Tamio, my natural question is why? Why wouldn't you want to play 4? Like, I think this deck could be made immensely better if they just put 4 Tamio in. It took out Jace the Mind Sculptor. Come on. Jace, he's going to get pyroblasted. He's going to get dazed. he's just going to get Bowmastered or something, right? Like this card is not a 2025 playable card. And I say this, I've got a play set of Jaces. I loved playing Jace back in the day, but it's just being power crept out of the format, just like Kaldra Complete has apparently been. I mean, like how many of those matchups will we have been happier to have Kaldra than the Aetherspark? Like your opponent takes out your Stoneforge Mystic, and okay, that's cool. And in turn, I'll have 4 mana and I'll just cast it from hand. And I think that came up a few times. And also, like, how sick is this art? Like, I just love that art. It's so cool. It's just, you just feel like putting your hands on it and just breaking it in half and becoming like, ascending essentially. Like you're going to become a planeswalker when you crack this thing in half. So anyway, I will leave it at that. I love playing Control. Don't get discouraged. There have been a lot of podcasts recently where people have been talking about like Control's not playable. Oh my goodness. And yeah, it's bleak for Control. Like we didn't get paired into Eldrazi, which is like a nightmare matchup. Oops is a pretty rough matchup. Death and Taxes, very rough matchup in my humble opinion, because they're like the bigger kind of fair deck. But I think in general, when you're playing against, not all in combo, but like kind of combo, like I feel like this is very well positioned against Seek and Show, for example, or Omnitell type decks. I think it's pretty well positioned against kind of like random permanent combo. Like I think this is probably pretty well positioned against Breakfast, for example, and it's definitely positioned well against Nadu, because you can attack on so many different axes. And the great thing is just like all the time, like you've always got a Tommy in play because you're playing 4 of them, you're aggressively playing them out, and the whole time she's just creating clues that you can cash in later and give you a great mid game. And I'm definitely looking forward to playing more of this. Do I think this is as good as my main deck? I'm not sure. So I played this in paper last night. You've seen this on the channel a lot of times. I would just be playing this constantly, but people are like, hey, spice it up. Don't lose your audience by going too far down one rabbit hole. And so I have been mixing it up, and I hope you all, if you appreciate me mixing it up, please say so, because I would just as soon grind this deck. This is my favorite deck. I love the fact that it's got like the graveyard disruption. I love the fact that it's got value baked right into the creatures in the form of Baleful Strix, Tamio, and Bowmasters, and you don't really have to play any Planeswalkers other than Kaito, which I'm on 3 of. And I love casting Mockingbird. Last night I went to a local, and like, I'm not trying to brag, but usually I can like 3-0, and I actually didn't 3-0 last night because I faced my friend Kyle, who was on this extremely powerful black-white like pseudo Death and Taxes. Doesn't actually have like Tamio or Thalia in it, but basically it's like a similar deck. It's got like all the Caracases, it's got like Felia to blink, Overlord, and like just insane value everywhere, and like very powerful creatures and stuff like that. And I couldn't keep up with it with this deck, even with all the value I'm generating. You just can't keep up when you're having to force and daze and stuff, and your opponent is just meanwhile like hard casting Solitude and stuff like that. But I did have a moment where I got to Mockingbird their Overlord of the Belmark. I paid 5 mana, and I got to get a Strix out of my yard, and I have a 5/5 game piece in one beautiful moment before, of course, it was solituded. But that was definitely a really fun moment. So this card is just incredibly flexible. But you didn't tune in to watch this. You tuned in to watch. Let's get the deck up on the board. Let's get the deck up on the screen. Yeah. So much fun. I encourage you to just take I always put a deck list in the description. So scroll down. If you haven't subscribed, leave a comment, leave a like if you care. I don't think it really makes that much difference. I think what really helps is just having like good constructive comments that are respectful, because I am a human being. But like, don't worry, you're like, I am going to receive it with the best possible tone. I'm not going to get all snippy in the comments. And that helps me. That helps everybody who's tuning in. So I will leave you with the last imploration. Beseechment. Of please leave comments with interesting observations that you made. If you think this is suboptimal, if you think like Lion's Hash isn't the right permanent to be the equipment to play, if you think Kaldra, like I'm crazy for taking out Kaldra out of my Stoneblade deck, like anything, throw it at me. Like I would love to hear your thoughts. And until next time, be excellent to each other and party on.